We are on to video 2.9, summarizing bivariate categorical data. What does this mean? Don't worry, it's not that confusing. It's just a very long title for a pretty simple process. Get your notes ready. You're going to have to write down some tables and write down some questions that we're going to answer. But first we start off with vocabulary. So what is bivariate data, first of all? It just means two variables. If you look at the word bi, it means two, variate, variables. Two variables or two things being measured. The frequencies we've looked at so far have been like age or population. Those are all one variable things. Bivariate data takes into account two things, so it could take into account, like this example here, gender and car. It could take into account height and athletics, any two variables that can be measured. Categorical data is data that's not numerical, so being male or female has nothing to do with numbers. What kind of car you have has nothing to do with numbers. Age would be numerical, height would be numerical, your favorite ice cream flavor would be categorical. Then marginal frequency and joint frequency come into play with this. This is a joint frequency table. And marginal frequency represents the totals of the rows and columns in a two-way frequency table, which is also what this can be called. So marginal frequency are the totals that are on the end. So any row or column on the end that totals up what happens in the middle of the table is called the marginal frequency. That makes sense on the margin. This unit can be about breaking down words and what they mean, just like we broke down bivariate, marginal frequency. Now joint frequency, you can break that down as well. Joint, where they join together, is the frequency count of responses from two categorical variables located at the intersection of a row and column. Very long definition for these pieces right here, where two categorical pieces of data come together as one. So there are 21 males that drive an SUV and 39 males that drive a sports car. On the next page, we're going to go into how we can fill out these tables. Just make sure you have all these notes down and get ready to draw a table on the next slide. So to complete a joint frequency table, this is a problem taken right from the Common Core, and it's going to help us to further see what this skill is. So this question says another random sample of 100 surveys was selected. Jill had a copy of the frequency table that summarized these 100 surveys. Unfortunately, she spilled lunch on part of her copy. Oh no. The following summaries were still readable. So this is a survey that tallied females and males and their votes on what their favorite superhero power would be. So we need to help Jill recreate the table by determining the frequencies for cells C, E, J, and Q. And how you can do this is you need to work backwards. So let's start with C. What we can do is look at the total. So the total of this column should be 25. The total of this row should be 55, but we're missing two pieces of data there, so it's going to be difficult for us to find out what either C or E is before finding one of them. But since there's only one missing here, I can work with this column. And I see that the total is 25, and there were 10 males that chose invisibility as their favorite power. So whatever C is, it has to add up to 25 because the total of that column, the total of all responders, male or female, who chose invisibility as their favorite superpower, is 25. So we just need to take 10 away from 25. We find out that C is 15. Pretty simple skill. We have to do the same thing now. I see super strength. This is the only unknown value in this column. It's also the only unknown value in the row, so we can work either way. But there's fewer numbers in the column, so I'm going to work with that. So we just have to take 9, the total, subtract 5 females who chose super strength as their favorite power, and we find out that 4 males chose super strength as their favorite power. And if we wanted to check this, we could add up all the rows and make sure we get 45. So 12 plus 16 is 28. 28 plus 10 is 38. 38 plus 4 is 42, and 42 plus 3 is 45. So we did that correctly. Now, we have our column with 2 unknown values, so I can't use the column, but I see that I've already figured out my invisibility value and filled that in, so I can find out what E is by looking at the row. So we have 55, and we have to take away 12, and 15, and 15, and 5 to get our answer, which is 8. So there are 8 females who chose telepathy as their superhero power of choice. And if you check that by adding up all of these, you will get 8 as well. And then the final missing value is right here. It needs to be the total of the telepathy votes. And 8 plus 3 is 11. So I'm just going to put an 11 there. And again, you can check your answer by adding up the row, and we should get 100. And this also tells us there were 100 total people surveyed, 55 females, 45 males. So if we add up 24 plus 31 is 55, plus 25 is 80, plus 9 is 89, plus 11 is 100. So we did that correctly. And I wrote this down here. I shouldn't have. This actually goes up here with this problem still. Of the cells C, E, J, and Q, which represent joint frequencies. So remember, that's in the middle of the table where you're just comparing 2 categorical values. So C is definitely a joint frequency. E is also joint frequency because it's just joining together females and telepathy, I think. And then J is also a joint frequency because it's between males and super strength. And Q is a total, so it is not. It goes down here as a marginal frequency. So make sure you have those notes down. Make sure you wrote the table down and you know how to answer the questions. Our hot question. A survey asked, how tall are you to the nearest inch? A second question on this survey asked, what sports do you play? You need to indicate what type of data, numerical or categorical, would be collected from the first question, and then you need to tell me if the second question had numerical or categorical data as well. Okay, put that in your hot question. We'll work on this tomorrow.